My thought process gets interrupted by an extreme dizziness as the entire area gets flooded with a white light again. Just like before, I get the sensation that my consciousness is being ripped out of my body, and then the light fades away as I find myself in the middle of much too familiar forest. No, it can't be. I quickly look down to confirm that I'm in the same 13-year-old body, and then I start to run towards my house as fast as I can. Oh, it's probably going to be like let the banshee kill the parents. I think parents should die. Parents should, yeah, because that's the god of time's trial. You can't really change the past. I think that's the whole thing. And then I can start to run towards my house as fast as I can. I don't know why I'm running. Why my magical sense is enough to give me all the information I need. The aura of the banshee possessing my sister is just as strong as it was the first time I was sent back in time. I can also sense my parents and my brother have not reached our house yet. I can sense it all. So why am I running? As soon as I reach the edge of the forest, I look towards the house. I see my sister turning into a banshee just like before. Everything I did was for nothing. It's going to happen again, and I'm the only one who can stop it from happening. I think I'm gonna let my parents die because that's apparently what we're supposed to. I didn't know the brother died or not. I think the brother died, but whatever. I stand there, I try to decide upon my next course of action. A dark thought suddenly crosses my mind regarding a scenario that I've completely avoided to take into consideration until this moment. What if this ritual isn't me about saving my parents? Isn't about me saving my parents? What if the only reason why the god of time sent me here was to force me to relive my past mistakes and to show me how powerless I am to change them? Araka did mention that these rituals are meant to exploit us for the god's own benefit, and after all that god of time has done to us, it just wouldn't make sense for him to help us change our past out of kindness of his heart. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense that it is not like the god of time is an actual god. He didn't create time. He doesn't have any control over it. The only way to undo something that has already happened is through a time reversal spell. If my parents' death have not been undone through magic, then my presence here is irrelevant. What? I need to read that again. The more I think about it, the more it makes sense. It's not like the god of time is an actual god. He didn't create time. He doesn't have any control over it. I mean, he does. He kind of like blew fucking... I mean, he has a little bit control over it. He can like, he ripped fucking Darren's heart out and then like put it back in. Like time reversal, so it does have a little bit of control as far as I can tell. And there's probably like a time reversal spell that like lasts for a few seconds only, not probably 28 years or whatever years it is. Whatever age Barry is, I don't pay much attention to the ages. I mean, he's 30 now. How old is he when the tournament started? I think 28. So it's 15-year difference. I don't know. I highly doubt he was able to go back in time that much. My parents' death have not been undone through magic, then my presence here is irrelevant. I will just be forced to repeat these same events over and over until I take the same exact action that I took when I was 13 years of age. There was never any other option. I was a fool to think otherwise. I will slowly begin to step back into the forest while I'm trying hard to maintain my calm. There is no other way. I only need to get through this one more time, then it will be over. I stop a few dozen feet away from the edge of the woods and I wait there for my parents to try talking to the banshee. I can't let either of them spot me. I need to do everything just like I did in 15 years ago. I need to arrive late. When I start hearing the screams of my parents as they're being murdered, I get the certain urge to get out of there and save them, but I manage to restrain myself. There is nothing I can do to help them. I need to stay strong. As soon as I stop hearing their voices, I rush out of the forest as fast as I can into the barn to grab the pitchfork. My brother is now running away from the banshee just like I remember he did all those years ago. While she's busy chasing my brother, the banshee is an easy target. I quickly circle around her, run my pitchfork right through her stomach from behind. The banshee tries to turn around to attack me, but she is too weakened due to her awakening. Eventually, I guess the brother did survive. Eventually, she stops moving and she drops to the ground as I let go of my pitchfork so I can fall along with her. As I look towards my parents' corpses lying close to the banshee, I cannot help but feel a sharp pain in my chest area around my heart. Although it passes soon afterwards, this is the second time I failed to save them. No, I can't really think like this. My parents are already dead. This was no different from a dream, a terrible dream that is finally over. A bright white light suddenly engulfs me as my consciousness is yet again being transferred to a different body. When the light and my dizziness fade away, I once more find myself in the same forest while my sister's aura can be felt very clearly in the distance. No, how can this be? I didn't do anything different from 15 years ago. I let both my parents die. I saved my brother. I used the same pitchfork. I've been made sure to arrive too late so that there wouldn't be any doubt that I did exactly No, that's not right. That is not at all what happened. This is just a story that I've been telling everyone for the past 15 years. I've been telling it for so long that I've even managed to fool myself into believing it was real. The reality of these events was, in fact, far different from what I remembered. Now I understand what the ritual wants from me. Now I finally get what I need to do. So, what did actually happen? That's interesting. So, he has been lying about it? So how did it go down? Let's find out. And I finally get what I need to do. As the realization of what really happened all those years ago finally dawns upon me, I first experience a feeling of shock, then a feeling of resignation, and finally a feeling of hatred, a feeling of pure hatred towards the god of time, which only keeps intensifying as I walk through the forest. When I finally reach the edge of the forest, I go inside the barn to pick up the pitchfork, then head towards my parents, who were now trying in vain to talk with the being that was once my sister. Position myself as a safe distance from my parents, and I wait. After a few more seconds, the banshee finally awakens and she tries to impale my father with a bare hand. Amazingly, my father manages to dodge her first attack, so the banshee attacks him a second time by driving a sharp cone of rock through his leg, making him fall on the ground. He probably stood back because he was too scared, making him fall on the ground as he screamed in pain. The banshee is now screaming as well, seemingly because she's also in pain as a result of straining herself so hard. Immediately after her awakening, while the banshee is distracted, my father finally notices me and also sees the pitchfork that I'm holding in my hand. Barry, my father says, "Quick, throw me the pitchfork." I say nothing to my father as I continue to stare at him while I keep cursing the god of time in my mind more and more with each passing second. This must be really difficult for him. I guess he was super scared when he was a kid, so he didn't really go in to kill them, and he just probably stood there. Unfortunately for him, the banshee had already recovered and she was preparing for a third and final attack. Barry, my father says, this time is a more desperate tone. There is no time. You need to give me the pitchfork. Unfortunately for him, the banshee had already recovered and she was preparing for a third and final attack. My father could not do anything to escape due to the large wound in his leg. He was impaled once more, this time through the chest, which killed him almost instantly. My mother screams in terror as she sees my father die before her eyes. She is now too scared to move, but before her dying moment, she manages to utter few last words. "Mary, please save me." Man, this is getting traumatizing, she says. Just like before, I did not move from my spot. I did not answer her. The banshee kills her by slitting her throat with a dagger made of sharpened rock. When the banshee sees me just standing there looking at my parents' corpses, she begins to laugh, the exact same sinister laughter that I remember clearly to this day. And I finally know what she was laughing about. She wasn't laughing about because she enjoyed killing my parents. She was laughing at me. It wasn't that I arrived too late. That was never what happened. I was there when my parents were being attacked. I saw it all happen before my eyes. I had the pitchfork in my hand ready to strike, but when I got closer to the banshee, I saw her monstrous figure staring at me with a vicious look in her eyes. I simply froze and completely froze in fear. I couldn't even hear my father and mother begging me to help them. It was only when my little brother was almost about to get killed by the banshee as well that I finally mustered up the courage to attack her. This is what really happened 15 years ago, and what I've completely blocked from my mind for more than half of my life. This was the one and only time when I ever froze up from fear. In fact, if I come to think of it, what happened after this event was that I developed an almost suicidal tendency to completely ignore danger. No matter how dire the situation was, it was almost as if my desire for something like this to never happen again was so strong that it fried my brain. It eliminated my instinct of self-preservation. So many things are starting to make sense now. I can't believe that I have been keeping this memory repressed for so long. I suppose I have the god of time to thank for the stunning revelation. I would shake his hand, but with the amount of rage that I'm feeling towards him right now, I'm afraid that I might crush it by mistake. The banshee is now starting to chase after my brother. I waste no time. I dash towards her, impaling her through her back with my pitchfork without giving her any chance to retaliate. As the banshee slowly dies before my eyes, a white light once again fills the area, and I get transported through time once more. This time, however, I'm not worried. I already know that I've passed this stage of ritual. Just as I was expecting, as soon as the light fades, I find myself in my 28-year-old body, surrounded by all of my friends as Araka lets out one of her usual laughs. "It looks like you are one of the first to pass the part of the ritual, Barry boy," Araka says. "Come have a seat. Let us enjoy ourselves while we watch the rest of your friends suffering in their own trials." I take a quick glance around me to see what our current situation is. The god of time is no longer anywhere to be seen, but it doesn't seem like his departure affected the ritual in any way. Darren, Kate, Layla, Hardrick, and Rose appear to be in some form of trance, similar to the one in which Rose was when she first arrived to this place. Their eyes are bright yellow and they're just staring in front of themselves without being aware of our presence. All of them are standing in place right where I left them, except for Rose, who is now on her feet on the ground instead of floating in midair like before. In the meantime, Melindra, Luna, and presumably Flower are all out of their trances. They're looking at me attentively. What do you mean you want us to watch my friends during their trials? I ask Araka. Once I get a good grasp of the situation, you have a way to see what's happening in the past? Sure, Araka says. It's not that hard. They're all connected to the Magium right now. So if you know how to link yourself up to their auras properly, you should be able to see what they're seeing. The Magium, I say, as I suddenly remember the discussion that Araka had with the God of Time before he sent us back in time. You were saying before that the Magium is one that sent Rose here to give us the prophecy. What did you mean by that? Are you saying the Magium is a person?